What's going on, everybody? I am back with another Prize Picks NBA player props video. This one going to be breaking it down, giving you guys 3 picks that you win some money over here on Prize Picks in the NBA tonight. As always, if you haven't checked out Prize Picks, would highly recommend you check them out. It is a player props website and app where you can win money off of picking the over and under on things like players' points, rebounds, assists, points, rebounds, assists, fantasy score, 3-pointers made, etc. Go ahead and use that promo code KJK DFS to receive an instant match on your first deposit up to $100 today. Again, that is code KJK DFS. Go ahead and lock that in, get that free money offer, and start winning some money over here on Prize Picks today. And if you are going to be very serious, would highly recommend you check out my premium content packages. We have had a bunch of bumps occur on this board today. I do try to give you guys picks that hopefully will not bump and or get the video out early enough to where I feel a lot of you can get the picks in before the bumps. But it's getting a little bit crazy. So if you're really looking to step up your game, I've already had a bunch of value push alerts go over there to the VIP members today. I have a feeling a lot of my core plays that I'm going to release today are going to be bumped. And I really can't do a whole lot more about it than what I'm doing now. I've been putting a bunch of systems in place to notify you as soon as I find the value, as soon as I place my tickets, so that my VIP members can get those plays in before the bumps do occur, because it is getting a bit crazy as of late. So check that out if you're interested, and if you enjoy this content, it would be greatly appreciated if you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you don't miss any future content that I upload. Trying to get you all these videos up to 500 likes. It is free. It takes 2 seconds. It does greatly help me out, and I will be providing these videos to you for free all NBA season long. So we'll go game by game as we always do. The first game I'd like to discuss is going to be the Brooklyn Nets taking on the Philadelphia 76ers. This game comes with a 225 over under 5-point spread in favor of the Philadelphia 76ers. So it is expected to stay close. It's expected to be decently paced here. And we got a guy that's usage has gone up in a big way as of late in Kyrie Irving with no Kevin Durant. He has really had to take over this team. KD's been out for pushing 2 weeks now, and we have seen Kyrie's rates climb in a major way. Guy plays a ton of minutes, which we like to see, 38, 39 minutes, 40 minutes a game, so he's practically playing like the whole game, very short rests. And the fantasy point production on the season for Kyrie Irving, he's putting up 1.18 fantasy points per minute traditionally on the season, but if you look at the last 2 weeks with no Kevin Durant on the floor here, that rate's gone up to a 1.45 fantasy point per minute rate. He's rocking a 32.9% usage rate as well on the season, and he's right around a 29% usage rate. So his fantasy point production has gone up in a major way here, and I do think we're getting a nice discount on his fantasy point line with all these things considered dialed in here. Like I said, the rates have been going way up. You look at his fantasy score line prop over here on Prizepicks. They've got his line set at 46.5. I do have him projected on my latest projection run to score 50 plus here, with a ceiling of upper 50s. And as a matter of fact, we just saw him put up 81 against Utah 2 games ago. So we know the ceiling's there. He hasn't played since the 22nd. Should be well rested here, taking on a Philadelphia 76ers squad. He continues to be without Kevin Durant. We just kind of discussed those rates the last 2 weeks with no KD. Once again, a big difference in fantasy point production. 1.45 fantasy points per minute. Like I said, he's playing like 38 minutes per game. You run the math on that real quick as far as the 1.45 per 38 minutes per game. That's going to be like 55 fantasy points. So clearly, I think this line's way too low. I've got him projected for 50 flat just from a base projection aspect. And then, like I said, when we run those latest numbers, with how many minutes he's playing per game and stuff, that's going to put him in the mid-50s. He's put up 65, 81, 58 respectively the last 3 times out. With no Kevin Durant, I do expect this trend to continue, and I do expect his fantasy score line to get bumped up into the 50s here very soon. I'm not quite sure why it hasn't already, but I'm not complaining. I do think this is a phenomenal play here. For pick number 1, we're going with the over 46.5 fantasy score here for Kyrie Irving. That will be pick number 1. Pick number 2, we're going to kick it on down to another guy that I don't feel like has gotten his fantasy score line adjusted appropriately, and I've been talking about him a lot lately. It's in this Toronto Raptors-Sacramento Kings game. This game has a massive 238 over-under with the Kings playing at a really, really fast pace. I'm expected to be a lot of scoring in this one, and the Toronto Raptors seem to be a team we discuss a lot because their minutes are just so reliable. And one guy in particular has been Scotty Barnes. I talked about him on a recent video. I continue to talk about him, it seems. And you look at his usage and his fantasy point production. He's second on the team with 1.18 fantasy points per minute over the last 2 weeks, trailing only Fred VanVleet. And that 1.18 fantasy point per minute clip, once again, is a lot better Maybe not, I mean, not a lot better, but it's certainly remarkable as far as when you're looking at his entire season rates. It's 1.02 fantasy points per minute. So once again, we're talking about a guy that recent form has gone up and minutes have gone up. Scotty Barnes was a guy that, if out of anyone in the rotation early on in the season was getting cut out like a little bit short on minutes, it was Scotty Barnes. That has not been the case as of late. The guy's been up there right around 37, 38, 39, 40 minutes. After earlier in the season, we were seeing him only play like 32, 33, 29, around 30 minutes. We're seeing those minutes get way up there in the 30s. Once again, similar to what we talked about with Kyrie, we're seeing the usage and the fantasy point per minute production increase with a 1.18 fantasy point per minute production. Once again, you do the math on that. Obviously, that's going to put him up there at the very least in the upper 30s as far as fantasy point, production on the entire game. This guy's playing in upper 30s. He's putting up over a fantasy point per minute. Obviously, you do the math on that. That's going to be in the upper 30s minimally with a ceiling for a lot more. And Prizepicks only has him set in the mid 30s. Looking at his latest line over here on Prizepicks, 35.5 fantasy score for Scotty Barnes. He has cleared this in 4 of the last 5. He's averaging 43.2 over those last 5. And I do have him projected in the upper 30s as he should be. The guy's minutes are going way up. We talked about his fantasy point per minute production is going way up, and you can't ask for a much better game environment than this 238 over under here, taking on this Sacramento Kings squad tonight. So you gotta love this pick here. For pick number 2, going with the over 35.5 fantasy score here for Scotty Barnes. That will be pick number 2. And then pick number 3, we're going to kick it to another game that's expected to absolutely fly. Massive total. It's the Golden State Warriors, Memphis Grizzlies. This game has the highest total on the entire slate. It's got to be one of the highest totals on the entire season with a 245.5 over under 3.5 point spread in favor of the Golden State Warriors. We got a little bit of trash talk going on in this one for sure between Draymond Green and the Memphis Grizzlies. I believe I don't recall what anchor it was, but talking about the Golden State Warriors not exactly being a total franchise anymore. The Memphis Grizzlies are now a team that maybe could beat them in the playoffs. I don't think Draymond took too kindly to that. And also Draymond's another guy, great fantasy point per minute producer. He's going to get a lot of assists, a lot of rebounds, plays great defense. Blocks and steals are always going to be on the table for Draymond Green. In the last 2 weeks, he's putting up 1.11 fantasy points per minute as compared to his seasonal rate. Here, looking at Draymond, 0.95 fantasy points per minute. We've also seen Draymond kind of take over at the starting 5 position here with Kevon Looney kind of shifting his way back to the bench, which obviously doesn't hurt our feelings either. That's going to be more opportunity for those rebounds down low, more opportunities for those blocks and steals. And Draymond can play that point forward position as well. He can get out on the break and dish it to his teammates. Surrounded by a bunch of talent, bunch of scorers, obviously, in this type of a game environment. Should be one that Draymond can certainly shine in. He's put up 11 rebounds, 7 assists, 9 points, 1 steal last time out, 13 rebounds, 9 assists, 1 steal, 11 points, 6 rebounds, 10 assists, 3 steals, 17 points the time before. It's just kind of what the guy does. He's like the glue of this team. He's going to get you those blocks and steals, play great defense, set up his teammates for shots. Obviously, he's not the greatest shooter in the world, but when he's surrounded by guys like Steph Curry, Jordan Poole, Klay Thompson, Andrew Wiggins, naturally there's going to be a lot of attention on them. It's going to lead to open cuts to the hoop, passes to him for easy layups, etc. And once again, a guy that's been crushing his fantasy score, and a guy that I do expect to crush his fantasy score again tonight. 29.5 fantasy score over here on Prizepicks. He's averaging 36.9 over his last 5. I do have him projected in the mid-30s once again. Here, he did put up 44 fantasy points versus Memphis in these past 2 games as well against Memphis. So he's scored in the mid-40s on the last 2 games against the same Memphis squad. Would not be surprised in the least to see that happen again tonight. 245.5 over under, massive total. It's kind of the type of game environment that Draymond's going to shine in. He's going to get all those blocks and steals, get in transition, be able to set those teammates up with those dimes, the rebounds, the full package when it comes to Draymond. Once again, not the best scorer, but from a fantasy point per minute aspect, he is pretty great when it comes to the fantasy point production. So pick number 3, we're going with the over 29.5 fantasy score here for Draymond Green, and that will be my 3 picks to get you winning some money over here on Prizepicks in the NBA tonight, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed. If you did, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. Hit the notification bell so you don't miss any future content that I upload. If you haven't checked out the premium content packages, I don't know what you're waiting on. Once again, that VIP, you're going to get push alerts. I keep adding a bunch of different features over there. That's going to pay off with the MLB season coming up. There's always bumps, of course, to those strikeout props. We got the WNBA coming up here soon. You're going to get all my projections as well. I talk about in these videos as far as the fantasy score is concerned. You can just go ahead and go through those projections yourself. figure out some of your top plays as well. I do a lot of the heavy lifting for you guys, pointing out the value, pointing out the discrepancies in my projections, etc. And I will send that into the Discord. But also, you are supplied with these same tools so you can do your own research. So it's all for me in this one. Wishing you guys all the best of luck on your Prizepicks NBA player props tonight, and we will see you in the next one.